everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries. Rooted men, rooted, firmly rooted in God's unconditional love and His eternal truth. And today, as I look at the reading, and I don't know, it's kind of a rainy, cold day, just doing some, contemplating while I was doing my devotions and things this morning, and a lot of thoughts about my dad. My dad was not a college educated guy. He wasn't eloquent, but man, he was powerful, and he contained and controlled perceptions about truth and perceptions about how he would live consistently to those truths that are beyond anyone I've ever seen. Man, he had some principles and he lived by those principles and they were undeniable. And family being first, and his sense of doing your best and being truthful. Incredible. And we're going to hit some of that in the text. Just reminiscing a little bit about my dad. Let's see who's on board, and then we'll get going. We got quite a few people on board. Many of them are from X. Good to have you. But we have Ken Gooch out in YouTube. Good morning, fellow brothers in arms. Chuck B, good morning. I'm out there. Good and X. Good morning, Rooted Men. Let's see, my cousin Dave Donnelly, also out on X, one of the 20-something that are out there on X. Chris Connolly, good morning. Steve Skopik, good morning. Bert Reggiani, good morning. Isaac, good morning. All right, great to have all of you on board. I'm going to pull up the text. We got about 10 verses to go through. I know. You're worried about me. I get it. But we're going to see if we can fly. There's got some memory verses in here, which is really fun. But let me pull it up and we're going to hit it. As you know, he has been talking about the message of the gospel in relationship to how Jews are looking for signs and Greeks are looking for wisdom and some kind of, philosophical thing, and how he's talking about true wisdom comes from God, and true wisdom is simple. It's honest. It's true. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. Love is the basis of true wisdom. Any other worldview is wrong. It's wrong. It's diluted. But listen to what he says in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, beginning at verse 1. And I came to you, brothers, when I came to you, not come proclaiming to you the testimony of God with lofty speech or wisdom. You know what? I'm going to change that to the NIV just so that it's a little bit easier to read. Hold on a sec. Boom. There we go. And so it is with me, brothers and sisters. When I came to you, I did not come with eloquence of human wisdom as I proclaimed to you the testimony about God. For I resolved, this is one of my memory verses. The word I had was determined. For I determined to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. I am telling you that Paul, and probably you and I, as rooted men, should put on the lenses of the crucifixion of Jesus. We should see ourselves through that lens. We should see everyone else through the lens of the crucifixion. I determined to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. He's also including the resurrection. But understand, the crucifixion is where we see God's love deepest, sacrificing his own son so that we, his sons and daughters, could be redeemed and saved. Verse 3, I came to you in weakness, with great fear and trembling. My message and my preaching were not with wise and persuasive words, but with demonstration. Listen, this fits our sermon series, but with a demonstration of the Spirit's power, so that your faith might not rest on human wisdom, but on God's what? Power. Gentlemen, this is all fitting with the very message that we've been preaching now for weeks. We don't hang our faith on the coattails of some pastor or some book that a pastor wrote or some sermon that he preached. I mean, unless he preaches the word of God, then he is using the wisdom of God. You hang on to it. But see, the Corinthians, they're saying, well, I kind of like Apollos, and I kind of like Paul, and I kind of like Cephas, and I kind of like, enough. None of them were crucified for you. Our faith is a cross-centric faith because there is where we experience the power of God. Any preacher who tries to add eloquence, add their own reasoning, add their own logic is going to choke off the very power that can do the work. We preach humbly. We teach humbly. Why? Truth doesn't need any help. It's powerful in and of itself. I tell my kids all the time, you don't have to yell and scream. You don't have to have an argument. Just slow down. Have an honest conversation because truth will win out. Why? It's truth. As long as we're willing to surrender to truth, it's powerful. It's dynamis. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ because it is the power, dynamis, dynamite, that brings us to salvation. So the whole key is that your faith would not rest on human wisdom, but would rest on God's power. Imagine if every single day we were firmly rooted in God's unconditional love and his eternal truth. And because of that, we could live out our whole day today with a supernatural power that comes from the gospel, that comes from the kingdom of God. Imagine if we could use that power, harness that power in a way in which we could live out our lives, let our light shine, pray for someone, maybe even have someone be healed, share Jesus with somebody. All of a sudden, the power of God is beginning to exude out of us. Verse 6, we do not, however, speak a message of wisdom among the mature, but not the wisdom of this age or the rulers of this age who are coming to nothing. They all think they're wise. They all think they got it made. They all think that they're in control. They all think that they're all that in a bag of chips. At the end of the day, all of their teachings are rooted in the kingdom of this world, and this world's going to end because it's rooted in some fundamental lies. And those fundamental lies will affect us physically as well as spiritually. He says, no, we declare God's wisdom, a mystery that has been hidden and that God destined for our glory before time began. This mystery, none of the rulers of this age understood it, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. However, it is written, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love him. These are the things God has revealed to us by his Spirit. These are the things he has revealed to us by his Spirit. And I think I'm supposed to end there. So I've got to check to see if that's the case. Hold on a second. Yes, stop at verse 10, Tom. All right, but let's go back. A mystery. Gentlemen, given the fact that it's a mystery that you have and I have harnessed inside of us, our whole lives are supposed to be revealing that mystery, the depth and the width of that mystery of Christ crucified and risen to ourselves, to everyone around us. And all of a sudden, we are sharing the wisdom of Christ, the wisdom of the Godhead, the heart of God. It's our whole purpose and our whole function. As believers who live on this planet, we are supposed to be being more and more like Jesus. And hence, our kids and our grandkids, nephews and nieces, family start to see Jesus in us. The consistency of our faith, the application humbly of the truth. People at work, people anywhere that we meet, all of a sudden we're having an impact because we're like a little Jesus walking around. And so there's another one, and there's another one, sharing the reality of the mystery that God loved us, sent his son to die for us, rose again from the dead, defeated sin, defeated death, defeated hell, so that we might be set free and brought into a new kingdom. Wow. Just wow. So today, maybe as men of God, we kind of focus on introspectively some humility. Realizing that as you and I stand at the foot of the cross, we look left and right and we see each other. None of us is better than the other. None of us is worse than the other. We're all sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and we are all redeemed and saved by the death and resurrection of Jesus. It's a leveling force. See, the kingdom of this world, they talk about equality, equity, but they don't mean it. They want hierarchy. They want the people that matter and the people that don't matter, the people who are just politically, geopolitically, it's a lie. They don't want equity, never have, never will. But Christianity levels the field for everyone. We all have sinned. We've all been redeemed. And you and I have a message to share in the way that we live, in the way that we speak. Consistency, lack of hypocrisy, integrity, truth. All right. I think I'll leave it at that. Let's see. Eric came on board. Good morning. Isaac, I think I said good morning to you, but I just wanted to make sure. All right, guys. I hope this devotion was a blessing to you. If you're out there on X, let us know who you are. I'd just like to say hi to you. Don't forget to share if you're on Facebook or X. Let's get the word out. Let's have a lot of people just getting together and having devotions 5 days a week. I'm going to be back at 8:30 for another devotion. And so feel free to join in. Blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day. And may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.